Let's fuck it up.
Be realistic, I don't really see no competition. Who she thinks she talking to? Like, obviously, I'm a nigga. Close that door, niggas snakes, I ain't going for it. Move right, outsmart them, stink team, most wanted. Be realistic, niggas bums, they ain't tryna ball, ran it back and won, nigga, anytime we took a loss. Rock hard in my double cup, I keep spilling sauce. I don't know nothing, bodies drop, he was not involved. Versatile, I could be a model or chalk the block, or pop a lock with a dough, X marks the spot. Cut it out, if she ain't beneficial, I'ma cut her off. Bitch, give up, drop right now, made her cough it up. Cold demons, everywhere I go, we dropping icicles. Is we kidding? Broke niggas rapping science fiction. Every day a movie, it ain't hard to be the most consistent. A flu flammer, I be in and out with orange chicken. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. He just wanna be my friend. Be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis. Be realistic. They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. Shit. Yeah. Can't do it how we do it. Be realistic.
You know who run the city, let's be realistic. Where the wonton soup, I'm finna tear up the kitchen. Cause you the feds or the cops, mind your business. Draco was the dime, bitch, tell all your children. Walking back to stupid, I might men in black his memories. Tear it off quick, bitch, now. Literally, if not, you gotta go to facts, you can't sit with me. I know I got this big Buddha piece, I need 10 of these. Things got the sauce, ingredients, and the recipe. I never stop rapping till my neck look like Mr. Then again, after that, I'ma still keep shit talking. He said he was a thug, it sound good, we made a bitch out of him. Best advice to be my friend, be realistic. I ain't even say a word, I walk in and feel the tension. All these niggas home dick, sometimes life calls for whippets. I'm a joint in my city, I ain't tucking in the trenches.
You know who really for the win? Be realistic. He just wanna be my friend, be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis, be realistic. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win? Be realistic, man. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family? Like a Japanese meal. It's just shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. But can't help but watch me. Oh, so now the brother don't want to go live. And Facebook just blocked me. Facebook just blocked me because I was trying to give him the StreamYard link. Oh my God, bro. You had me make this live. You said drop the live link and you're not going to even show up. The brother saying I got my people live right now. And Facebook just blocked me, y'all, because I was trying to share the StreamYard link. But anyway, if someone can give him the YouTube link, I can't access Facebook for a day because Facebook just blocked me. But I tried to give him the link twice. I gave him the YouTube link, and now he's saying he can't come on the live. He making excuses for not coming on the live, y'all. And the brother told me that he'll come on the live. The brother challenged me to go live, and I create the live to deal with this conversation because people are trying to say, and they're trying to use the Neanderthal argument to try to say that Africans are the only pure humans, and which is a farce. All humans are pure humans. We're all Homo sapiens sapiens. And they try to use the Neanderthal introgression argument to try to dehumanize other people, not understanding that Africans themselves have Neanderthal introgression. Africans themselves have ancestry, autosomal ancestry tied to Neanderthals. And not only Neanderthals, Africans themselves have ancestry tied to archaic humans, archaic Homo sapiens. Okay, this is a known fact in the scientific community. This is a known fact in the genetic community. And what happens is people always run to outdated sources, outdated papers to try to make these race claims. Africans are the only pure race. Race is a figment of your imagination. Race is not a biological reality. Race was made up to create a hierarchical system based off of phenotypic expression, based off of black, white, and everything in between. That was made up. That's why when you go to different West Coast African countries like Guinea, what does Guinea mean? Guinea comes from the French term that means black. What does the word Sudan come from? It comes from an Arabic term that means black. They're basing it off of phenotypic expression. That's where this comes from. And the funny thing is, the people that champion these ideas claim to be the most African. Oh, I support African this and the third, African thought, African intelligentsia, all these things. But you're using and utilizing things that don't even come from native indigenous Africans. The idea of race is foreign to native and indigenous Africans, ancient Africans. It's foreign to them. They didn't know what that was. If you went to the west coast of Africa and went to visit my ancestors 4,000 years ago in the heart of shit, they would not know the racial system that you have today. That would be foreign to them. If you went to the ancient Sahel, if you went during the African human period, during the Green Sahara, and you were able to communicate with the locals there that were in the Green Sahara, they would not know anything about this system of dividing people based off of skin color. They would not know. It'll be very foreign to them. So you guys claim to be, I'm tuned in with the ancestors, but you're using something that's very modern that doesn't even come from the African continent or ancient Africans. It don't come from them. That comes from mainly Eurocentric thought. That's what that comes from. Your ideas of race, it comes from Germans. That's where it comes from. So when you start talking about pure race, that lingo and phraseology is coming from eugenics. People that believe in ethnic cleansing and racial cleansing and all these crazy ideas of obliteration and genocide of a multitude of people based off their phenotypic expression, based off of how they look or what social category that you place them in. That's what y'all believe in. But want to claim to be so pro-African. You're anti-African, because most of those ideas was used to try to depopulate Africans and destroy Africans, and also justify the system of slavery based off of, well, you got the mark of Cain on you, you got black skin, you are black, you are subhuman, we are allowed to treat you as such because you're not a fellow human. And you hear this same lingo being regurgitated in the Umar Jackson-ites, in these fake, false Afrocentrics, the same type of lingo. And they try to use and reverse the whole shit by going to things like Neanderthal ancestry. Nobody on the planet is a Neanderthal. If you understand the literature and you read and comprehend the literature, you understand what it is saying. That was ancient introgression events that happened in the past, and certain populations, if not all populations, including Africans, retain relics of that event, where there were anatomically modern humans that admixed with Neanderthals sometime in the distant past. And humans today retain this relic in their autosomes. No one descends directly from Neanderthals on the planet Earth. Neanderthals died off. Archaic hominins all died off. Denisovan died off. Australians have Denisovan DNA. They themselves are not Denisovans. Western and Central Africans have a ghost population, which is most likely an archaic hominin population that we don't know who they are, hence the word ghost population. But we see it in their genes. We can see that they have this old archaic DNA within them. Does that mean they themselves are that representative of that archaic population? No. That means somewhere along their lineage, there was an admixture event between anatomically modern humans and that archaic hominin. That's all that means. It does not mean they themselves are the direct product of archaic humans. Y'all gonna come to this channel, y'all gonna learn this information properly and not be, bamboozled by these race hustlers on the internet. That's all you guys are doing, repackaging and selling the ideas of race, repackaging and selling the ideas of racial purism, repackaging and selling the ideas of eugenics. This is why you guys support scumbags like Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey claimed to invent fascism. Marcus Garvey wanted to control the entire continent of Africa with an iron fist, and he wanted to impose fascism on Africa. He said he wanted to take these backward tribes and colonize them. That was his plan for Africa. And where was he getting that from? The white hick rednecks that he was lockstep with. And he helped and supported these guys. They wrote each other while he was in prison. They bounced ideas off of each other. They believed in racial integrity, racial pureness. They believe in ideas of eradicating mongrels, as he called them, mongrels, mulattoes, because they were the enemy of the race. These are the things that was taught by Marcus Garvey, and you guys are the spiritual sons of Marcus Garvey because you propagate the same message that he was propagating in the 20s when he was with the KKK, when he was going and sending his people to their rallies in Atlanta. This is all documented. This is all facts. Marcus Garvey was a damn scumbag. And he supported eugenics. He supported destroying people that he felt were inferior, killing and obliterating and genocide and ethnocide of people groups. He supported that. And you guys are echoing those sentiments like Umar Johnson. I saw Umar Johnson bring his sorry ass on Joe Budden's podcast and sit up there and try to castigate people for having interracial relationships. One, you worried about where another man sticks his penis. You shouldn't be worried about his sex life. At least, especially in this day and age, at least he's with a woman. Because in this day and age, we live in the freakazoid era, where everything goes. At least he's with a woman. But you want to control other people's penis and their sexual selection based off of ideas that were fostered and created by rednecks, by the KKK. And just like the irony with Umar Johnson, didn't Umar Johnson get caught with a blonde-haired chick already, a stripper or some stuff like that in a scandal? Just like that. That's the same thing with the KKK. They would talk this racial purist shit, and there's always a black woman in their bed somewhere. Same thing with these Afrocentrics. They'll talk this racial purist shit, and they got a white woman in their bed. So do us all a favor. Do us a favor. STFU. Do us a favor. You Umar Johnson like niggas out there. And I gotta go in because everybody's trying to coddle these people. They try to coddle people like this, coddle people that admire a scumbag like Marcus Garvey. And that's Umar Johnson's whole thing. I'm connected to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a terrible human being and supported ideas like fascism. Y'all don't know what fascism is. That's when the state has complete and utter control over its people. And he wanted to rule the entire continent of Africa through fascism. These are the scumbags that you guys are supporting. And it's all interwoven with these ideas of race, racial pureness. And this is why people bring up Neanderthals. Because in their mind, Neanderthal means they're not pure humans, that if someone has Neanderthal introgression, they're hybrids of the alien variation. Shout out to Ron Dalton. Oh, white people are aliens. Chinese people are aliens that came in the 11th century CE. It's all documented. It's in these guys' books. These are the messages that they propagate to do what? Dehumanize people groups. Wait, where did we hear that from? That's the same thing the KKK was doing to black people back then. Dehumanizing them. These people say, oh, you're a colonizer. You support the same ideology of many of these colonizing groups of dehumanizing peoples, finding reasons and excuses to dehumanize these people. Oh, they got dark skin. They're not human. Oh, they got wide noses. They're not human. Oh, they got kinky hair. They're not human. They're subhuman. They deserve to be enslaved and mistreated and destroyed. We do our bidding against these people because they don't have no human rights. They don't have anything. They're not even human. That's the same type of lingo we hear within these Afrocentric circles. And again, these people claim to be so African. None of these ideas existed in ancient. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. If I were able to snatch you out, put you in a wormhole, and knock you back into 6,000 BCE, somewhere in the Sahel somewhere, those people will have no idea of what you're talking about. These are all modern Eurocentric concepts. We are all human. I don't give a damn if you live in the Congo Basin. I don't give a damn if you live somewhere in Norway somewhere, or you live in China by the Yellow River. You're human. We're all Homo sapiens sapien. The proof is within our DNA. We all descend from Y chromosomal Adam, right? And on our mother's side, we all descend from mitochondrial Eve. We all descend from the same people. Whether you call yourself Black, whether you're African American, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Mongolian, whether you're from Norway, Norwegian, Australian, whether you're an Andaman Islander, whether you're South American, whether you're Latino, whatever race or creed or whatever identity group that you believe you belong into, ultimately, we all descend from Y chromosomal Adam. We all descend from mitochondrial Eve. We all descend from the common Homo sapien gene pool. All of us. Nobody on the planet descends from Neanderthals. And Neanderthals are still humans. They're just early archaic humans. That's all they are. They're still humans. So when people try to make this argumentation, you're not changing anything because they're still humans. You don't know when there are no Neanderthals. They died out 30,000 years ago. There are no Neanderthals living today. And if anybody want to get on, anybody want to try to contest what's being said here, be my guest. Be my guest. There's a link. It's in the chat. I got time today. You know, I've been very busy running my business and dealing with that. I've been very busy doing that. But I got time today. We can discuss this because this Umar Johnson shit needs to die. You know, the audacity. Oh, you ain't doing nothing for Black people if you marry a white woman, blah, blah, blah. What about his, okay, you marry a white woman, you have kids, well, what about his kids? They don't mean shit, huh? Because your idea of racial pureness has made you cuckoo, has driven you into lunacy. Now you're a genocidal prick that want to destroy and kill off anything that you deem to not be fit to be humans. This is the sickness that comes with this ideology. And we've seen it play out in real time through the Nazis. We don't care about those Jewish people over there. They implemented that same ideology in Africa. Y'all forgot? Y'all forgot? We're not learning this. Y'all don't know that history about the Germans going into Africa and massacring Africans because their ideas of racial hierarchy, their ideas of racial pureness. They believe they had a right to eradicate certain people that they felt who were inferior, that they called subhuman. There's a great book on that. I think it's called Darwin, when Darwin was introduced into Africa. Right? So miss me with all this bullshit about eugenics. Miss me with all this bullshit of trying to dehumanize certain people because you're wrong. You're wrong. Every human on the planet descends from the same. Watch this. I'm gonna just show you. You know, the man was like, "Hey, we can go live." I said, "Oh, hey, I'm setting up the StreamYard now." And he was like, "He with it." Then when I set the StreamYard, pull the trigger and start the live, now he busy doing something else. Now he busy doing something else. I thought we was gonna get busy. I thought we was gonna do what we gotta do on this topic. I said, let me look this up. For all you let's go to Nature. The Nature article. Let me share this real quick. Share screen. For all you racial purists out there. What does that say? All men, I'm just going to read this slow. I want y'all to get this. All men living now then would have a Y chromosome descended from that one man identified as Y chromosome Adam. All men today descend from this one male. This is the lineage that, of course, there were more people that existed during his time, but we only descend from this one man. He's the surviving lineage of that time period today. So if you go further back in time, you're able to trace all your ancestors, everybody, Chinese, European, Western African, West Central African, North African, East African, South African, American, North American, Indigenous American, mulatto, Chinese, whatever you want to call them, Latinos, Australians, Andaman Islanders, Japanese, Russians, Fijians, Canadians, whoever. We all, if you are able to trace all of mankind's ancestry, it's all going to go back to Y chromosome Adam. Right? So mitochondrial DNA is passed from mother, daughter, son. See, right here, the theory predicts that all mitochondrial genomes today should be traceable to a single woman, mitochondrial Eve, whereas the Y chromosome is passed from father to son, mitochondrial DNA is passed from mother to daughter and son. So same thing with all women on the planet. If you go all the way back in time, we're able to trace everybody's ancestors. It's going to go back to that one woman. All women, I don't care if they're African. I don't care if they're European. I don't care if they're Chinese women. I don't care if they're Russian women. Ultimately, we all go back to the same set of ancestors. Homo sapiens sapien, anatomically modern humans. It has nothing to do with Neanderthals. Our ancestry has nothing to do with directly descending from Neanderthals. We are Homo sapiens sapien. There are no Neanderthals. Neanderthals died off. All right, so watch this. Neanderthal extinction period. Let's put that in. Again, here you go. Let me just go straight, quick Google this right quick. For more than 350,000 years, Neanderthals inhabited Europe and Asia until, in a sudden change by evolutionary standards, they disappeared around 40,000 years ago. 40,000 years. There hasn't been any Neanderthals for 40,000 years. There are no Neanderthals on the planet Earth. They all died off. It said this was at around the same time anatomically modern Homo sapiens emerged from Africa. These people are extinct. The people you got try to call Neanderthals are trying to say they're not human, even though Neanderthals are human. They're early human. They're not modern human. They're early human. The people that you're trying to call that, they're not even Neanderthals. They're from the same family as us. And you should know that, because if you study genetics like you claim, like this person claims, you type in phylogenetic tree, Y DNA. If you look at any phylogenetic tree, there's a common one here. If you look at any phylogenetic tree, these are all the males on the planet, all the groups of males on the planet. They all ultimately branch from one line. You can see right here where it says AT, we all branch from this line here, right? And then that line branches into BT, and BT creates CTD, CT, and CT creates DE and CF, which majority of the planet is populated by, right? These children here, they all share a common ancestry. We all share the same male ancestor and the same female ancestor. All right, here it is. The Y chromosome, most recent common ancestor, is the most recent common ancestor from whom all current living humans are descended patrilineally. Y chromosome Adam is estimated to have lived roughly 236,000 years ago in Africa. We all descend from the same group of people. I got to harp on this basic truth because people don't understand. People don't understand because the ideas of race. Well, if your people were alive right now, you should have said that instead of acting like you were ready to go. Because all I had to do is get on my computer, create the title, and pop it up on the screen. Now I got to go over simple lectures real quick about humanity as a whole and that we have a common ancestor with everybody on the planet. Neanderthals, again, do not exist. Your ideas of modern race is very new. You're trying to dehumanize people based off ideas of modern race or based off Neanderthal and introgression, which all humans have Neanderthal introgression. Every single human living on the planet Earth has some degree of Neanderthal introgression, meaning somewhere down the line, their ancestors mated with Neanderthals. That's all that means. It does not mean they themselves are the direct product or descendant on the male or female side of Neanderthals. There are no Neanderthal Y chromosomes. There are no females that have Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA, which was claimed by, that was a claim that Ron Dalton tried to make. Oh, haplogroup X is Neanderthal. No, it's not. Mitochondrial DNA X. Let me see if I can pull it up. DNA X phylogenetic tree. Find that for you guys real quick. Yeah, as you guys see, this is a good one here. Let me blow this one up. So look, you have mitochondrial Eve, and then you have the L markers, the L3, out of L3, mitochondrial M and N comes out. N spits out daughter clades here. About 70,000 years, they split into different distinct female groups as they disperse throughout the earth. And as you can see, haplogroup X comes from mitochondrial Eve. This has nothing to do with Neanderthal. These are modern humans that we're looking at. Modern human females that we're looking at. But you got Afrocentric, crazy Israelites like Ron Dalton that will push the narrative that, oh, that's near that. No, that's not Neanderthal. That comes from the human family tree. Nice try, buddy. It comes from the human family tree. It shares common ancestry with the rest of the world. There are no Neanderthals. In fact, mitochondrial X was born after the Neanderthal extinction event. Around 30,000 years ago. Around 30,000 years ago. So this was after the Neanderthals were wiped out off of the planet, right? Various theories on how they were wiped out. We know today none of them do exist. All right. We covered, you can check our past lives. We covered Ronald Dalton and his claims. Most of these claims are cyclic. A lot of these people share these views, trying to dehumanize and trying to say who's a pure human, who's not a pure human based off their admixture. Well, what about this? So this is the same issue we have with internet racists, internet skinheads, internet KKK members, the people that probably have accounts on front. What about this? Let me pull this up. Trying to dehumanize people. On both sides, they're trying to dehumanize people. Let's see. Ghost population in West Africans. All right, here we go. So I want to get the actual scientific article here, but we can read an article on it. Hold on. So how do you swear this? If you think that someone, just because someone has maybe like 2% Neanderthal ancestry, how do you swear the archaic DNA found in West Africans? If we're going to do the Aristotle dictum and apply the same logic across the board, which you guys don't do, y'all don't. When you're racist, you try to, what applies to them only apply to them. You never apply it to yourself, right? And the person making this, have you taken your DNA? I'm curious. The person that is making these claims about another group of people being human, being non-human, are not pure humans in his words, in his estimation. Have you taken your DNA test? That's my question. Have you taken your DNA test? What is you probably European. You probably European. Abbott Clack says, are you trying to tell us outside of skin color there's no difference between black and white people? No. What I'm telling you is who you call and designate as black and white people. Of course, there's differences amongst different groups. There's different nose shapes, eye color, eye shapes, hair texture, right? From a physiological standpoint, there's differences. Tall, the height, there's differences. But ultimately, because we are diverse as a human population, ultimately we all converge back to the same ancestors. That's what I'm telling you. And they're not Neanderthals. They're modern humans. That's what I'm telling you. There are no Neanderthals existing today. That's what I'm telling you. They all died out 40,000 years ago. That's what I'm telling you. We all share common ancestors. That's what I'm telling you. I come from a family, a branch of humanity known as haplogroup E M96. This branch is an excellent branch to exemplify that there's diversity in groups, even though they share common ancestry. Because guess what? There are people that live in the Balkans and Central Europe and Eastern Europe that have EV13 that descend from the same family that I do, and I'm an African American. Those people look different than I do. But if you jump on a time machine and go all the way back to and view our ancestors, we were once together. We were once together, even though we spread out, dispersed, intermingled with other populations, and created descendant populations to the modern day that have different looks from each other. That doesn't change the fact that ultimately we share the same paternal ancestors. That's what I'm telling you. But this is from the paper, Recovering Signals of Ghost Archaic Introgression in African Populations. Now, this is the question for you racial purists out there, eugenics, the people that follow eugenics. You Marcus Garvey lovers out there trying to tell people who is a human and who's not. What does this mean then? Because rednecks on the internet, hicks on the internet, skinheads on the internet, KKK on the internet, these Stormfront users on the internet and on Twitter use papers like this to try to claim that West Africans are not human, just like you're trying to claim that Europeans are not human based off Neanderthal introgression. Right? Multiple West African populations inherited genes from a population that diverged before modern humans and Neanderthals split. So does this mean they're not human? Because that's how they interpret it. No, we're all humans. Use your noggin. Avid Clack says another question: have scientists discovered a way to use vaccines that affect Black people only? I don't know anything of that sort. I don't know why that's even a question. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about common human ancestry. But while we're on that topic, I don't know how you could just target and affect Black people only if Black people share genes and autosomes with white, quote unquote, white people, especially Black Americans. Black Americans, on average, have 20 to 25% European DNA. So I don't understand the question and where it's coming from. Abbott Clack. Anyway, I can't use Facebook anymore because they blocked. I can't message and do anything on there because they blocked me because I was trying to share my StreamYard, and for some reason that's an offense to Facebook. Anyway, let me go back to what I was reading here. I'm asking the question of the Umar Johnson-ite peoples. Abstract is given a summation of the paper. It says, while introgression from Neanderthals and Denisovans have been documented in modern humans outside of Africa, the contribution of archaic hominids to genetic variation of present-day Africans remain poorly understood. We provide complementary lines of evidence for archaic introgression into 4 West African populations. Our analysis of site frequency spectra indicate that these populations derive 2 to 19% of their genetic ancestry from archaic population that diverged before the split of Neanderthals and modern humans. So this is very old, right? Using the method that can identify segments of archaic ancestry without the need for reference archaic genomes, we built genome-wide maps of archaic ancestry in the Yoruba and the Mindi populations. Analysis of these maps reveals segments of archaic ancestry at high frequencies in these populations that represent potential targets of adaptive introgression. Our results reveal the substantial contribution of archaic ancestry in shaping the gene pool of present-day West African populations. So if we're going to apply the same logic that y'all apply on everybody else, which is dumb, because we're talking about a population that's older than Neanderthals, that Neanderthals come from. That Neanderthal, Denisovan, they come from this lineage, this ghost population. If you're going to say people are not human because they have Neanderthal genes, then you would have to say that West Africans are not human as well, because they have archaic ancestry that predates Neanderthals. This is the idiocy of the way people think, these Umarites out there. This is the idiocy. And there are people that make this argument. We argue with them all the time. These people are white rednecks on the internet, and they're bold because they're behind a mic and they say these things, and they try to push things from the 19th century in the modern era. Same thing going on with Afrocentrics. They're trying to push ideas of racial pureness from the 19th century. Outdated ideas. Racist, hateful ideas of the past. And that's not what a ghost population means. Speed says certain African groups share DNA with ghost populations, i.e. something that cannot be traced back. A ghost population is just an unidentified population. That's it. That's what it means. They know it's there. They know it's old. They just don't know exactly what it is. They know it's archaic. The reason why they don't know exactly what it is because we don't have any specimen to represent that population that we're able to extract DNA from. Like this could easily be Homo heidelbergensis, but we don't have any DNA from Homo heidelbergensis to make that claim. That's why it has to be labeled ghost. We do have DNA from Neanderthals. That's why we're able to identify what segments of DNA that are in our genomes. that belong to Neanderthals. And you being African American, you have Neanderthal DNA. You have Neanderthal variants. That this is the crazy thing. So if you're saying they're not pure human, you're saying you're not a pure human. You have Neanderthal variants. You have Neanderthal DNA. This is what, come on now. Use your noggin. You got to use your noggin. And again, the link is in the chat. Anybody can come up here and try to contest what's being presented here. You know, and what am I reading from? I'm reading from scientific articles. I'm going straight to the whale. As you can see here, these are the geneticists that were involved in this paper. I can drop the link right here in the chat. Again, to properly understand this is your ancestors at some point in the distant past mixed with these archaic groups. That's all it's saying. And you carry those genes today. Not that you directly come from them. This is indirect ancestry. Direct ancestry would be your Y chromosome, your mitochondrial DNA. And again, we don't have Neanderthal Y chromosome DNA. We don't have Neanderthal mtDNA. We don't have archaic Y chromosome and archaic mitochondrial DNA. We're all modern Homo sapiens sapiens. All of us. Now, when we go to the question of Neanderthal, because it's been 40 minutes and the brothers hadn't showed up yet. We can get into the meat of this. This is not going to take too long. It's very simple. I showed him this earlier, and he said, "Oh, this bullshit. Show me the science." I'm on science.org, brother. I gave you a link from science.org. This is legit. What does that say there? To answer the question of the video, Africans do have Neanderthal and Archaic ancestry. Africans carry a surprising amount of Neanderthal DNA. People on every continent, including Africa, have a genetic legacy from our extinct cousins. All right. For 10 years, geneticists have told the story of how Neanderthals, or at least their DNA sequences, live on in today's Europeans, Asians, and their descendants. Not so in Africans, the story goes, because modern humans and our extinct cousins interbred only outside of Africa. A new study overturns that notion. That's what I was trying to tell him. The information that he was presenting was outdated. It's outdated. And even then, in 2013, they knew the Yoruba had Neanderthal. In 2013, they knew the Yoruba had Neanderthal introgression. They knew that. This is known information. It says, revealing an unexpectedly large amount of Neanderthal ancestry in modern populations across, see that word right there? Across Africa. Pan-African. Neanderthal introgression is Pan-African. Look, you can see when people click on the video. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this. They want their Umar Johnson doctrine to exist and persist. They don't want to deal with scientific findings. They don't want to deal with empirical evidence because it knocks the hell out of your doctrine. Your ideas should bend to the evidence, not the other way around. You're trying to bend the evidence to your ideas. No, your ideas should bend to the evidence. You got to bend the evidence to your idea. It says here, revealing an unexpectedly large amount of Neanderthal ancestry in modern populations across Africa. It suggests much of the DNA came from Europeans migrating back into Africa over the past 20,000 years. We're going to discuss this here in another paper. Open quote, that gene flow with Neanderthals exists in all modern humans, inside and outside of Africa. I want everybody to hear that. Inside and outside of Africa. So if you're calling them non-human or they're not pure humans, then you got to apply that across the board because, again, Neanderthal introgression is across African populations. It's inside and outside of Africa. Let me read it again. Open quote. That gene flow with Neanderthal exists in all modern humans inside and outside of Africa is a novel and elegant finding, close quote, says anthropologist Michael Petraglia of the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History. It says the work reported in this week's issue of Cell could also help clear up a mysterious disparity why East Asians appear to have more Neanderthal than Europeans. As members of Homo sapiens, that's what we belong to, spread from Africa into Eurasia some 70,000 years ago. I want y'all to remember that date, 70,000 years, because there's another paper that I'm going to mention this with. They met and mingled with Neanderthals. Researchers knew that later back migrations to Europeans had introduced a bit of Neanderthal DNA to African populations. Previous work suggested it was just a smidgen. So they thought it was small, right? In contrast, modern Europeans and East Asians apparently inherited about 2% of the DNA from Neanderthals. Previous efforts simply assumed that Africans largely lacked Neanderthal DNA. There's that word. You know what the word assume is? You make an ass out of you and me. So previous efforts simply assumed that Africans largely lacked Neanderthal DNA. To get more reliable numbers, Princeton University evolutionary biologist Joshua Aki compared the genome of Neanderthal from Russia, Altai region, and Siberia sequence in 2013 to 2,504 modern genomes uploaded to the 1,000 Genomes Project, a catalog of genomes from around the world that includes 5 African subpopulations. The researchers then calculated the probability that each stretch of DNA was inherited from a Neanderthal ancestor. The researchers found that African individuals on average had significantly more Neanderthal DNA than previously thought, about 17 megabases worth, or 0.3% of their genome. They also found signs that a handful of Neanderthal genes may have been selected for after they entered African genomes, including genes that boost immune function and protect against ultraviolet radiation. So Africans do have Neanderthal introgression. Africans do have it. It says the results jive with as yet unpublished work by Sarah Tishkoff, an evolutionary geneticist at the University of Pennsylvania. She told Science she has also found higher than expected levels of apparent Neanderthal DNA in Africans. Read that again. She told Science, which is this publication here, she has also found, so this is evidence-based. See, a lot of you guys want to be idea-based. Whatever idea, ideology you have, you try to be, you center and base everything off that. It's evidence-based. It says she has found higher than expected levels of apparent Neanderthal DNA in Africans. The best fit model for where Africans got all this Neanderthal DNA suggests about half of it came when Europeans who had Neanderthal DNA from previous matings migrated back to Africa in the past 20,000 years. So half of it comes from this back migration event. It says the model suggests the rest of the DNA shared by Africans and allied Neanderthal might not be Neanderthal at all. Instead, it may be DNA from early modern humans that was simply retained in both Africans and Eurasians. I want y'all to remember this because that's another paper I'm going to jump to right after this. And was picked up by Neanderthals perhaps when the modern made a failed migration from Africa to the Middle East more than 100,000 years ago. A key study might help explain another head scratcher, says computer biologist Kelly Harris of the University of Washington, Seattle. Studies have suggested East Asians have 20% more Neanderthal DNA than Europeans. She notes Europe is where Neanderthal remains are found, so why wouldn't Europeans have more Neanderthal ancestors in the group? Close quote. By suggesting Europeans introduced Neanderthal sequences into Africa, the new study points to an explanation. Researchers previously assumed that Neanderthal sequences shared by Europeans and Africans were modern and subtracted them out. After correcting for that bias, the new study found similar amounts of Neanderthal DNA in Europeans and Asians, 51 to 55 megabases, respectively. It's a convincing and elegant explanation, Harris says. So again, all humans inside and outside of Africa have it. Now, I want y'all to remember that introgression event real quick, because I want to go to this paper here. It's a paper that we went to on the channel to ad nauseum. We went to this particular paper to ad nauseum on the channel. We've been to this paper several times on the channel, dealing with haplogroup E and the back migration L3 and stuff of that nature. So this is carriers of mitochondrial DNA macrohaplogroup L3, and I'll put this paper in the chat as well. You can have it, read it, study it on your own time. Peace. Boom. So we're going to read this portion here. It says the above results show that the positive correlation found between Y chromosome haplogroup E and mitochondrial L3 and L2 lineage is not strongly associated with either geography nor language. It is better explained as a result of gradual substitution of the most basal mtDNA L0, L1, and L5 and Y chromosome AB lineages. And most people don't understand is that Africa was populated by a different set of humans in times past, and then there was an event where haplogroup E begins to dominate Africa and reduce the autochthonous Africans that have haplogroup A and B. As we're reading here, it says lineages by the phylogenetically younger clades L2, L3, and E respectively. They were being replaced throughout Africa, as we just read. The data also suggests important sex bias dispersal between populations. These evident gene replacements in Africa have been mainly attributed to recent geographic range expansions of pastoralist and agriculturalist populations from Eastern and Western Africa at the expense of hunter-gatherers and inhabitants of Central African rainforests. Eastern African forests areas around the Great Lakes and semi-desert open space in South Africa. Of course, what they're referencing here is the Bantu expansion that happened about 5,000 years ago. But again, we can see that there's an earlier event here in the evidence. It says under our hypothesis of an early return to Africa from Eurasia. Remember that was one of the models that was explaining the Neanderthal genes in Africans that there could have been back migration going on, right? This is under our hypothesis of an early return to Africa from Eurasia of basal mtDNA L3 and Y chromosomal E lineages. Majority of male lineages in Africa come from Y chromosome E. It's like 50 to 60% clip of the whole entire continent. And their expansion approximately 70,000 years ago into East and subsequently West Africa, these lineage replacements must have begun very early. It appears that in the first expansion, mtDNA haplogroup L2 was incorporated by female assimilation, whereas their hypothetical Y chromosome haplogroup B counterparts were outcompeted by the incoming E chromosomes. An ancient expansion from Central African source into East Africa at 70 to 50,000 years ago has been associated with haplogroup L2. Similarly, an early expansion within Africa 60 to 80,000 years ago involving L3 and possibly L2 was detected long ago. This later expansion was considered a crucial event in the exit of modern humans from Africa into Eurasia. However, our proposition is that it signaled a backflow from Eurasia and subsequent expansion into Africa. Moreover, our hypothesis of an early return and subsequent expansion inside Africa of carriers of L3 and E haplogroups might help explain, this is what we were just reading, the Neanderthal introgression detected in Western African Europe. Again, Africans have Neanderthal genes. Africans have Neanderthal ancestors. So are they not pure human now? Because that's what you were saying before. It's idiocy. It's idiocy and lunacy you guys are appealing to. And the evidence is widely against this, diametrically opposed to what you guys are saying. And again, this fits lovely with the 2020 paper. This paper was written in 2018. Lovely what was said in the 20 paper. Hey, this thing back because we know Neanderthals were in the Middle East and Europe. So that means people that will have to go to these locations to intermingle with them, intermix, and pick up these genes. And when they picked those genes up, they brought it back with them into Africa. And a great example of this is L3 and E back migrating into Africa. And when they back migrated, they were the descendants of this admixture, and they brought those Neanderthal genes with them into Africa and mixed with the locals. So again, it says the Neanderthal introgression detected in the Western African Yoruba and in Northern African Tunisian Berbers. I mean, I'm still waiting on Dude. I guess Dude ain't coming. I'll wrap it up there. It's very simple, very easy to understand. Everybody on the planet has Neanderthal gene variants. Africans have it. Europeans have it. The person who made the comment most likely has it. I'm just, listen, bro, like, just cut the race crap out. It'll be a lot easier, more simple for you if you just go off the evidence and not try to base things off racial pureness arguments. Who is and who's not a pure human? We're all pure humans. We all come from Y chromosomal Adam. As demonstrated earlier in this video, we all come from mitochondrial Eve, as demonstrated earlier in this video, and as demonstrated, Africans do carry Neanderthal genes. They carry it. And you being an African American, you most likely carry it. So why not apply that backwards logic of saying anybody has Neanderthal genes are not pure humans? Why not do that? Because you would never do that to yourself. If you wouldn't do it to yourself, why do it to your neighbor? Why do it to your fellow human? This is the same rhetoric and doctrines that got millions of people killed in times past. This ethnic cleansing, all that stuff is real. That happened. Same type of talk, trying to claim certain people are less human than other groups, are not human or subhuman. This is why we can treat them and destroy them, because we're not doing it to humans. We're not doing it to somebody. It's just like us going and hunting and killing fish or wild game, because they're not humans. Trying to dehumanize entire groups is a very sick doctrine and a very sick tactic. And it was used and implemented by Germans, used and implemented by Mussolini, which Marcus Garvey, by the way, said that Mussolini stole his idea. He said Mussolini stole fascism from him. He's the arbitrator of fascism. He's the originator of fascism. Marcus Garvey was trying to claim one of the most evil systems ever. Yeah, I love and adore them because you guys are rednecks and black skin. I keep saying this. Thomas is correct about you guys. You're black rednecks. Your ideology, your ideas of anti-miscegenation. The reason why Umar Johnson went in on Joe Budden's co-host and trying to get on him for having a white girlfriend is because he is of his spiritual lineage. And his spiritual lineage is coming directly from rednecks and KKK members, which he always uplifts Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey worked hand in hand with KKK members. Side by side with KKK members. This is documented fact. And these are the people you guys praise. You should be ashamed of yourself, man. You should be ashamed and embarrassed that you carry this type of ideology. This is why I distance myself from Hebrew Israelites, Afrocentrics, and all in between. All these occults. And that book I referenced earlier is When Darwin Comes to Africa, Social Darwinism, and Hitler eradicating Western Africans. We do know that happened, right? A lot of people don't understand that he brought that same ideology, utilized the same ideology that he used against Jews. He implemented it in Africa. And these are the talking points you guys agree with. These are the talking points you support. You support racial pureness arguments, ethnic cleansing arguments, racial cleansing arguments. You guys support it. Let me see. Pull this up real quick before we get out of here, man. Just real quick factoid on this. Yeah, in Southwest Africa. Yep. Let me go to the times of Israel real quick, just to give y'all this bit of history and just show you the destructive power of this ideology. I'm trying to base everything on race and racial pureness. A lot of people don't know this. I'm just going to bring this up. That's why it's dangerous to be trying to determine who's, oh, you're not a human, you're not a human, you're not a human. In Germany's extermination program for Black Africans, a template for the Holocaust. Decades before Nazis turned the Jews, German colonists in Southwest Africa, now Namibia, dehumanized. There's the word, dehumanized. That's the first step. That's how they justify this wicked, evil shit, is by saying you're not even human. Dehumanized, built death camps for, and slaughtered tens of thousands of tribespeople in systematic genocide. Here, Edwin Black reveals the full horrors of an eerie and arduous precursor of the Shoah and its legacy in the U.S. See here. Now, I'm not going to read this entire thing, man. And the funny thing, Nazis, they learned from Democrats, and we covered that on the show before. They learned how to mistreat people and set up a racial hierarchical system from Democrats here in America because they were already doing it. Andrew Jackson was already doing that. His Indian Removal Act and all those different things. They learned from them. They learned from them, man. With that, I'm out of here. Stay away from racial pureness arguments. It's garbage. It has a very dark past and dark history. Very genocidal and ethnocidal history. You guys are attaching to it. And attaching to figures like Marcus Garvey that attach to it. It's disgusting, disturbing, and it's beyond idiocy and lunacy. With all that being said, all humans have Neanderthal introgression. Whatever group you pick, they have it. We're still all Homo sapiens sapiens. We still all descend from Y chromosomal atom, mitochondrial DNA. And that's the motherfucking deal. Be realistic, nigga.
Fornax, fuck it up.
Be realistic, I don't really see no competition. Who she thinks she talking to? Like, obviously, I'm a nigga. Close that door, niggas snakes, I ain't going for it. Move right, outsmart them. Think team, most wanted. Be realistic, niggas bums. They ain't trying to ball, ran it back and won, nigga. Anytime we took a loss, walk hard in my double cup. I keep spilling sauce. I don't know nothing, bodies drop. He was not involved. Versatile, I could be a model or chalk the block or pop a lock with a dough. X marks the spot. Cut it out. If she ain't beneficial, I'ma cut her off. Bitch, give up, drop right now. Made her cough it up. Cold demons everywhere I go. We dropping icicles. Is we kidding? Broke niggas rapping science fiction. Every day a movie. It ain't hard to be the most consistent. A flow flammer. I be in and out with orange chicken. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. He just wanna be my friend. Be realistic. They don't really get no Ochis. Be realistic. They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. Shit. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic.
You know who run the city, let's be realistic. Where the wonton soup, I'm finna tear up the kitchen. Cause you the feds or the cops, mind your business. Draco was the dime, bitch, tell on your children. Walking back that stupid, I might men in black his memories. Tear it off quick, bitch, now. Literally, if now you gotta go to sad facts, you can't sit with me. I know I got this big Buddha piece, I need 10 of these. Things got the sauce, ingredients, and the recipe. I never stop rapping till my neck look like Mr. Then again, after that, I'ma still keep shit talking. He said he was a thug, it sound good, we made a bitch out of him. Best advice to be my friend, be realistic. I ain't even say a word, I walk in and feel the tension. All these niggas home dick, sometimes life calls for whippings. I'm a joint in my city, I ain't tucking in the trenches.
You know who really for the win? Be realistic. He just wanna be my friend. Be realistic. They don't really get no Ochis. Be realistic. They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win? Be realistic, man. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic.